I must say that uh, looking at bilateral trade balances is generally a bad idea. So I've seen this commentary about the $100 billion deficit versus China.
Right.
See, remember that if India wants to be part of some of these major global value chains, at this stage, given that we have a young labor force, we are the few countries in the world with a stable political system where the labor force is expanding, we will be the last mile, or rather the last place where the products get assembled. And in which case, we will have growing surpluses with the West, but we will also have growing deficits with the countries that are slightly upstream in the value chain. So even as China was accumulating surpluses with the US, it had big deficits with Korea, Taiwan, and ASEAN. So,
Right.
so when you're thinking about global value chains, it makes sense to look at the aggregate trade balance, because bilateral trade balances will be very skewed.
Sure. But
Now,
aggregate trade balance wise, where is India?
uh, so on the good side, our trade deficits have started to come down at an aggregate level. So if you take a rolling 12-month number, it was 265 billion or so at the peak, with oil prices falling, and some of our exports starting to go up, of say electronics and stuff like that. We are kind of stabilizing at a $21 billion a month kind of trade deficit right now. On the services side, our trade surpluses are rising very rapidly. So from 2018 of about $100 billion, FY23 was close to $200 billion, $198 billion. And I think that in the next 3 years, it could keep rising. So on the services side, it's very clearly moving up as well. But having said that on the good side, even bilateral deficits don't matter that much. We have to be very wary of the fact that if goods demand globally is weak, and a very large part of that is China being really much below its pre-pandemic trend or even the last 5-year trend, then there is surplus capacity in the world. And Indian manufacturing companies' competitiveness will be tested. So we are already starting to see that in commodity products. So we are seeing chemicals prices come down, and chemicals companies are complaining that it's a lot of Chinese dumping that is starting to happen. We have now seen increases in like steel imports. So initially it will start with that, but if the demand condition in China and the rest of the world remains weak for goods, then some of our manufacturers, their competitiveness will also start